So in the continuation of the last class we have found that what would be the stiffness matrix for a CST element. So this was a CST element yesterday we have taken, and at nodal point 1 x1 y1 and nodal point 2 x2 y2 and nodal point 3 x3 y3. It is given in the problem. And now let us take the few more assumptions to solve in a exact finite element analysis. Let us say the 1 to 2 would be the this length or this side of the CST would be, let us say it is fixed. Okay, it is fixed, and another length that is called, let us say, from 2 to 3. So from 2 to 3, and let us assume that there would be a uniform variation load is acting. So at nodal point 2, let us say that 10 megapascal is acting, and let us say that will be equal to P1. At nodal point 3, and it would be the 20 megapascal, and let us assume it as a P2. So in the last class we have discussed that what about the traction force or pressure loads at each and every nodal point. So let us recalling that things. So if a CST element is looking like this 1 2 3, if 2 to 3 having a uniform variation load or the pressure load, and this would be the P2 at the nodal point 2, and let us say P3 at the nodal point what is that 3. So if that is the case, therefore it is possible to define the what is the load vector due to the traction force. So this would be the a very important formula, the load vector due to the, so load vector due to the traction force can be defined as, it is equal to the, it can be written as T into length of that element which will be acting a pressure load, so that is called 2 to 3, and divided by the 6 into and 2 times of Tx2 plus Tx3, and again the second one is a 2 times of y2 plus Ty3, and the next one would be the 2 times of Tx3 plus Tx2, and last element would be the 2 times of Ty3 plus Ty2. So we know that each and every formula in the last class we have defined that the Tx2. So the Tx2 can be written as, it is equal to minus of y of 3 2 divided by the length of 2 to 3. Okay, so length of 2 to 3. So now let us find out the what is. So here Tx2 can be defined as minus y of 3 2 divided by L23, the pressure at nodal point 2. So let us say pressure at nodal point 2 P2, pressure at nodal point 3 is equal to P3. So therefore the pressure at nodal point, let us say it is a P2. So this can be written as minus of y32 minus nothing but y3 minus y2. y3 is given in the problem, it is equal to the 7, and minus of y2 is nothing but it is equal to the 3.5 divided by the length L23. So the L23 can be written as, it is equal x3 minus x2 whole square plus y3 minus y2 square whole square under root. So if you do that one, you will get the 10.5. So let us say 10.5 would be the. So therefore the pressure P2 is equal to the, at a given point it would be equal to the 10 megapascal. So the megapascal is nothing but, you can convert into the Newton per mm square. It is equal to 10 Newton per mm square. So therefore you can take 10. So if you do this one, then you will going to get the what is the value of the Tx2. Similarly, and you should find out the what is the value of Ty2 also. So the Ty2 can be written as, it is equal to the, it can be written as x2 3, that is called x. So here L of 2 3 we have calculated, it would be the 10.5. So for convenient point of view, let us take 10. So the denominator, let us take that all would be the 10. Okay, so if you take the 10, therefore it is very easy to calculate the answers. Okay, so for me I have assumed this 10.5, I have taken it as a 10. So the denominator become the 10, so that the calculation will be going to easy. So but in actual case, you please take out the 10.5 alone. So now the Ty2 can be calculated minus of x23 divided by length of 2 3 into P2. So here, so x2 3 nothing but x2 minus x3, that is equal minus of 7 minus 4 divided by length. We have assume that 10 and 10 get cancelled, and this becomes that it is equal to the minus of 3. And next x3 tx3 can be calculated minus of y3 2. So minus of y3 minus y2. So y2 is equal to 3.5 and this is equal to the 7 and divided by length 10. Let us take 10 and this will become the 2 and it become that, and 3.5 into 3 2 would become that it is equal to 7 and it is a minus sign. And similarly the last one can be written as the ty3 can be calculated as x2 3 by length of 2 3. There is a minus sign. So x2 minus x3 can be written as x2 is equal to the 7 and x3 is equal to 4 from the given triangle, and 7 minus 4 divided by 10 and into pressure P3, that is equal to the P3 pressure is equal to the 20 megapascal and it becomes that 20. Okay, so 10 and 20 you can take this as a 2, and here it becomes that 7 minus 4 it becomes the 3 into 2 is equal to 6 and there is a minus sign. So this would be the, so what is that given from the given coordinates, and we have calculated that tx2 ty2 tx3 ty3. So therefore let us concentrate how to find out the load vector at this point of time. So the load vector would be equal to the, it is equal to the t times of length of 2 3 divided by 6 into what is that 2 times of tx2 plus tx3, and this can be right as, okay. So let us take, so now this is the time to calculate the load vector, and once you know that tx2 ty2 tx3 ty3, therefore the load vector can be written as t and thickness, and we given that 1 mm as thickness, and L23 just now we have calculated, we have assumed it as a 10.5 is equal to the 10. So for simplification of the calculation, let us take the length of 2 3, that is equal, this 2 3 is equal to 10 and divided by 6 and into this matrix. So here the matrix is 2 times of tx2 we have calculated that 3.5 and plus tx3. So tx3 we have calculated that minus 7, and this is the first row. So next second row, 2 into and ty3 y2 is nothing but it is a minus 3 and plus and ty3, that is equal to, it is equal to the minus of 6, and next one, the next row with the 2 times of tx3 we have calculated is equal to minus 7 and plus tx2 can be written as it is equal to the 3.5. This last row would be, it is equal to the 2 times of y3 is equal to the minus 6 and plus y2 is calculated as it is equal to minus 3. This would be the load vector due to the pressure. So therefore the load vector due to the pressure, so it can be written as load vector due to the pressure would be equal to the 1 into 10 and 10 by 6, and this can be simplified, and 3.5 into 2 times 7 and 7 minus of 7 become that 0. Next one would be the minus 6 and this become that minus 6 and it become the minus 12, and here minus 12 plus 3.5 and this become that 8.5. So 2 minus of 6 minus 12 minus 3, so it become that minus 12 minus 3 minus 15. So this would be the minus 15. Now come to the, this would be the load vector due to the pressure. So we know that the triangle is like this. So therefore at nodal number 1 it has a u1 and a v1, and at nodal number 2 it has a u2 v2, and at nodal number 3 it has a u3 and v3. So therefore the pressure is acting from the nodal number 2 to 3. So therefore the row numbers and column numbers are, it start from the u2 v2 and the next one is a u3 v3, because the pressure load is acting from the 2 to 3. So this load vector is belongs to the from the nodal number 2 to 3 alone. So this would be the load vector for a given one. So in the last class we have seen that the global stiffness matrix that we have calculated and into the global load vector here. So if you have taken this as a 3 nodal point, nodal point 1 2 comma 3, and therefore the global load vector can be written as u1 v1 and u2 v2 and u3 v3. This is a global load vector, and that must be equal to the global force vector. See here, in a given triangle only the pressure is acting at the 2 to 3. So the external force matrix that is equal to the external force matrix would be the equal to 0. So therefore the force matrix belongs to the external force plus pressure force and plus traction pressure force or traction force, and next one would be the, it may be subjected with the temperature load vector as well as it may be subjected with the body force vector. But in this problem the external force are 0, only pressure or traction forces are there at nodal number 2 to 3. So the temperature load is 0 and body forces are 0. So therefore in this one the governing equation becomes, the governing equation can be write as, that is called global stiffness matrix, that would be equal to the 6 by 6, and global load vector that is called u1 v1 u2 v2 and u3 v3. This would be the, it is equal to the 6 rows and 1 column, and this must be equal to the global force vector. So here the global force vector can be written as the rows of the global force vector. The first row belongs to the u1 rows and second row v1, and next one is the u2 and v2, and the next would be the u3 and v3. But fortunately the u1 v1 there is no external force, because at nodal number 1 it is not subjected with the external force as well as the pressure load. So therefore at nodal number 1 in x direction force is 0, y direction force is also 0, because there is no external force in x comma y, and there is no pressure force in the x direction y direction, and there is no what is that temperature load, and there is no body forces, therefore it would be 0. So but at u2 v2, so at u2 v2 the pressure force is there, so therefore you have to take the 10 by 6 as a common, and at u2 v2 there is a forces are there, that is called 0 minus 12. So here you can observe that the u2 v2 u3 v3 element forces are 0 minus 12 8.5 minus 15. So u2 v2 I have written and u3 v3 can be written as 8.5 and minus of 1.5. So in this problem only traction force is existing at nodal number 2 and 3, but remaining nodal number 1 there is no forces. So in the given problem only traction force is existing at nodal number 2 comma 3, and the external force, body forces and temperature load vectors are 0 for each and every nodal point. So only the traction force is there, that's why the traction force elements we have considered in this governing equation. So here the global stiffness matrix 6 by 6, and we have written that the u would be the, it is equal to the u1 v1 u2 v2 and u3 v3 6 by 1, and the force vector would be 0 0 0 minus 12 8.5 minus 1.5, and multiplication would be the 10 by 6. So this would be the governing equation, and this we have calculated in the yesterday. So each and every row is known. So now it is very important to define the what would be the nodal displacement. But when you see the problem, I have defined that in the last slide. We can see that at nodal number 1 comma 2 would be the, it is fixed. So therefore it is possible to say that u1 is equal to 0 at nodal point 1 and v1 is also 0 at nodal point 1. Similarly at nodal point 3 it is possible to say that the u3 is equal to 0 in x direction and v3 is also going to be 0. So means that there is a 4 boundary conditions. So the u1 is 0 and v1 is 0 and u3 is 0 and v3 is 0. So if you have applied the elimination process at this position, so if you have applied the elimination process, Therefore, you should eliminate the u1 rows and u1 columns. And similarly, if you apply the v1 is equal to 0, v1 rows and v1 columns. Similarly, u3 is 0, you have to eliminate the what is that, u3 rows and u3 columns, and v3 is 0 and v3 rows and v3 columns. So therefore, it is possible to say that the reduced matrix, the K would be reduced to the, it is equal to the 4 rows and 4 columns are eliminated. So therefore, it remains that 2 by 2. So the displacement matrix remains u2 v2, and the force vector must be equal to the only u2 v2 force terms are existing, that is equal, these two are existing. So this must be equal to 10 by 6 times of 0 minus 12. So this would be the governing equation. So in this governing equation, this 2 by 2 matrix is known and only unknown is u2 v2. So therefore u2 v2 can be written as, it is equal to the K inverse into 10 by 6 times of 0 minus 2. So from this one, it is possible to get the u2 v2 values. So please calculate by yourself and let me know that what is the value you have calculated. Thank you.